Volumes of prisms and cylinders. So, to find the volume of a prism, you use the formula V equals BH. But notice this B isn't a lowercase b like we normally see, it's actually an uppercase B. And what the big B represents is area of the base. So depending on what kind of prism you have, whether it's rectangular prism or triangular prism, what you put in for B is going to change. And then the H is the height of the prism, or the distance between the two bases. So, in a rectangular prism, the area of the base would be a rectangle. So you would replace your big B with base times height, since that's the area formula for a rectangle. And in a triangular prism, since your base is a triangle, your big B would be 1/2 base times height, or you could write it as base times height over 2. And then in a cylinder, the base is round, it's a circle, so the base would be pi r squared. So for a cylinder, it would be pi r squared times h. And it actually gives you that formula on an 8th grade formula chart, but obviously we don't have those, so that is the cylinder formula, and you will be given that on your CBA as well. So, to find the area of, the volume of rectangular prisms, let's practice. You have your formula, V equals big B times H. We said big B was the area of our base. And since it's a rectangular prism, our base is a rectangle. So let's just say on this one, our base is the top and the bottom. And then the H is the distance between our two bases. Alright, so I'm going to replace our big B with the area formula for a rectangle. So I'm going to do base times height times the distance between my two bases. So my base of my rectangle is 3 and the height is 1.5. So I'm going to do 3 times 1.5, and then the distance between my two bases is 2. So when you multiply 3 times 1.5, you get 4.5. Then you multiply that by 2. So the volume of our rectangular prism is 9 centimeters cubed. Now, an easier way to remember to find volume is you can just multiply all 3 of your dimensions together to where it's volume equals length times width times height. And if you just multiply the 3 numbers they give you together, then it will always give you your volume. It does not matter what order you multiply them in. So you can either pause and try number 2 on your own, or you can come back to number 2 when you are done with the video. So now we have our triangular prisms. On our triangular prism, we follow the same formula where you have V equals BH. This time, since it is a triangular prism, our base is our triangles. Remember, our base is not always what the shape lays on. So since our base is our triangles, we'll replace the big B with the area formula for a triangle times the distance between your bases. So this one, the base of our triangle that they give us is 8 and the height is 6. And then the distance between our two triangles, or our two bases, is 13. So that's actually the height of the prism. So 6 times 8 is going to give you 48 over 2 times 13, and then 48 divided by 2 gives you 24 times 13. So the volume of our triangular prism is 312 units cubed. So if you would like, you can pause the video to practice the area or the volume of the second triangular prism, or you can come back and try it at the end of the video. You will have to multiply using those fractions, so if you want to change them to decimals, that could probably make it a little bit easier for you. And finally, we have our cylinder. So the area formula that I said to use for a cylinder is V equals pi r squared times our height, which is essentially the same thing as V equals big B times h, except the big B is just replaced with the area formula for a circle. So in the circle, they tell us that we're going to use 3.14 for pi since they don't give it to us. Our radius is 7 squared, and then the height, or the distance between our two bases, so the distance between our two circles, is 15. So you have 3.14 times 49 times 15. And when you multiply all three of those together, you get that your volume of your cylinder is 2,307.9 meters cubed. See? Nothing to it. Again, you can pause the video and try the second example, or you can come back to it at the end. But be careful, because in that second example, they give you the diameter, not the radius. And the last problem. So you can see that they have combined two 3D shapes together. We have our rectangular prism and we have our triangular prism up here. So we're going to have to find, they want to know what is the total amount of space that needs to be heated. So we have to find the volume of both the rectangular prism, the triangular prism, and then we have to add them together. So let's do the rectangular one first. So you have V equals big B times H. So the area of our base, again, I told you guys a trick for doing the rectangular prisms is just add all three things that they give you together. Add the length, the width, and the height. So, or I can just say that this is my base. I'm going to replace my big B with my area formula. So I can do my base is 55 times 10 times the height, which is 15. So 55 times 10 is going to give me 550 times 15, and the volume for the rectangular prism comes out to 8,250 feet cubed. But we're not done, because now we have to find the other volume of the triangular prism. So you do the same thing. V equals big B times H. But this time, since we're looking at the triangular prism, we have to have our base as a triangle. So instead of big B being replaced with BH, I'm going to replace it with base times height divided by 2 times H. So if I look at my triangle, my base is going to be the same as this. So my base is 55 and my height is 20. Divided by 2. And then the distance between my two triangles is 10. So that's what I'm going to put for H. So then when you do 55 times 20, you get 1,100, but you have to divide it by 2. So 1,120 divided by 2 gives you 550 times 10 gives you 5,000. Sorry, I'm going to write it up here. Gives you 5,550. And now to find the total, we take this amount and we add it with this amount to figure out the total. So I'm going to do my 8,250 plus 5,550. When we add these together, we get 13,750 feet cubed. All right, and that's pretty much all there is to know over volumes of prisms and cylinders.